Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Close the Gap. I'm your host, JR. You guys know the vibes. If you guys are feeling the podcast, go ahead and click on that subscribe button down below. Leave your comments. You guys know I appreciate it. But I'm going to hop right into it. So this is the first time I'm doing a podcast through the internet because I have a very special guest, as you guys can see on the other side of the screen. This gentleman is not anywhere near that I can get to right now to do this interview. This gentleman, you need a passport to go see him. So I'm super, super honored to have Mats Moy with me today to discuss what he is doing for the roofing business. For me, he's evolutionized how roofers market in the current industry, and he's killing it. When we're done, he's going to definitely leave you with some of his contact information, but check him out because LinkedIn, he is killing it, and he's leaving a lot of information. Mats, welcome to the podcast. Welcome to Close the Gap.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here, man.
That's right, man. So what we're going to do, Mats, my first question that I'm going to ask from you is what was the first thing? What part of being an entrepreneur really busted your ass in the beginning?
Busted my ass. Realistically, it was just getting the ball rolling, man.
Okay.
That is typically the hardest part of entrepreneurship. Well, it was for me.
Right.
I remember I was just lost. I was working at a company, and I think about 3 years in, I kind of knew that, you know what, this is not for me. I think I'm going to go ahead and try my own thing.
Right.
So 2 years of planning. I had stayed for an additional 2 years of kind of planning to see what I'm going to do. And I had this idea in my mind.
Yeah.
How it was going to go.
Right.
And nothing like that. I don't know. Have you ever watched, I think it's like 500 Days of Summer?
Yeah.
Expectation versus reality. And that movie,
right.
just right there, man. That's how it was. It was nothing like what I expected it to be. And just as soon as I left the corporate world, it was just like, holy crap, you know.
Right.
What did I get myself into?
Right. Okay.
And the hardest part was just getting clients, figuring out what I'm going to do, because it was such a saturated market, right? I was getting into like web development and everything. And so it was like, what do I do at this point? You know, everybody's doing what I'm doing. And so how do I make myself and my services stand out from everyone? So that's what the hard part was at the beginning.
Okay. I mean, that makes sense, right? I think for a lot of entrepreneurs, right, is always just that leap, you know, and then when you make that leap is how are you going to get the clients. Right. So it makes sense. So Mats, give the audience, tell them the origin stories, man. Who are you? Who's the legend of Mats?
The legend.
Yeah, brother.
So I started off working at an engineering firm in the roofing division of the engineering firm. And so property managers, building owners would hire the engineering firm to look after their roof, let's say once a year. So we would go out, go up on the roof and see if there were any deficiencies, anything was wrong with the roof.
Right.
And from there, I would head back to the office and draft up some specifications, whether it needed to be replaced or repaired. I would then tender it out to a list of qualified roofing contractors. And depending on, price, reputation, whatever, the job was awarded to a roofer, and they would then go out and do the work. I would then go out maybe 2 to 3 times a week just to kind of look over their shoulders to see that they're doing the right job. They're doing what I had specified on paper. They're using the right materials. They're not cutting any corners, things like that. Some quality assurance. That's what I was there for.
Okay.
And so I did that for 5 years. It just wasn't my cup of tea. It just wasn't my thing. For one, I was afraid of heights. right?
Right, no joke.
I remember during the interview process of me just getting the job, the first thing they asked me, "Are you afraid of heights?" I said no. I needed a
Yeah, you
job.
need
I
that
needed,
gig. You need the
for
right.
sure, right? So it just wasn't my thing, right? And then the second part, the looking over the shoulder of these guys and kind of telling them what to do.
Yeah.
They just didn't like seeing me on the roof. I didn't want to be there anyways, and
Right,
so
right.
you know what? I said, this is not for me. Let's do something else.
Okay.
But I had already accumulated all this knowledge about roofing, and
Right.
so why put it to waste? Like I understand roofs, I understand the industry, I know how these guys operate, and so let me use that knowledge with my tech savviness that I've had my entire life. I grew up on computers, video games,
Right.
computer
Right.
apps, technology, all that jazz, and so use that and just kind of mesh the two, and here we are, man.
So Matt, why roofing though? Why did you go to school for roofing engineer? Just
No.
give me something. Let me know
Sure,
why.
sure. So I went to school for civil engineering, right?
Okay.
Civil engineering, and that's how I ended up at the engineering firm. They had come to the school that I was
Ah,
at, and they had a job fair of some sort. It was supposed to be
sure.
like a summertime position, which
Sure.
turned out to be a full-time position. And so I just happened to be working in the roofing division. I could have been anywhere else. I could have been working with windows. I could have been working with parking garages,
Yeah,
but I
yeah,
ended
yeah.
up with roofing. It wasn't by choice, but that's just where I ended up.
That's
And
how the cookie
so,
crumbled.
exactly,
So
exactly.
so then how did you learn internet marketing?
So internet marketing, that just kind of came to me naturally.
Okay.
I just happened to do a whole bunch of research, learn how to do internet
On
marketing. I
your
took
own.
courses on my own. This is all on
Okay.
my own.
Right.
On my own time, I just went on the internet and I said, first thing that people should do, is head to Google and say, how do you do internet marketing?
Use your
And one
Googles.
thing led right, and one thing led to another, which led to another, led to
Mhm.
another, and then all this information just started coming in, and then you just start to apply the information that you learn, and next thing you know, you own a full-time business.
So let me ask you, what was the light bulb switch that went off that said, "Let me combine my knowledge in the roofing industry that I gained from my job and combine the digital marketing?" Because that's interesting, the vertical that you're in, because you're very specifically targeting or helping, should I say, roofers.
Right.
So what made you blend the two together?
So I had throughout my I guess my quest, my entrepreneurial journey, in the very beginning of it, I realized that me doing like websites for companies, just like anyone, I was essentially a commodity. Like, yeah, you could get anyone to do a website, but
Right,
how much value does that actually bring to someone else? Like someone can pay someone, $150 to slap a website together, and
right,
voila. And
right,
that's not what I would like. That didn't bring much value to anyone.
for
And
sure.
so one of my mentors, I was following online, and he just said, "What have you been doing for the last 5 years?" I said,
Okay,
I was in roofing, right? What are you good at? I'm pretty good at this internet marketing thing.
okay,
So I kind of just me listening to other people and saying, coming up with ideas as to what I can do, and I'm just jotting things down. I'm good at video games, I'm good at computer stuff.
right, right,
I'm
right.
pretty good at marketing. I'm sure I can pick it up more. What I've been doing for the last 5 years, roofing. That's pretty much it. That's all I was doing for the last 5 years. And so that's how I came about meshing, getting the idea. That was the light bulb to say, you know what, this is a pretty niche, you know, area here. Like
Yeah.
you can take this and apply it to them, and on top of that, add some value. And
So
so that's how I came about doing that.
okay. So then so let's talk a little bit about how you built your company. Okay? So what were you doing in the beginning or now to get clients? Because in the beginning of this conversation, that was one of your hardest parts was to get clients. Um, so in my podcast, I'm really hoping to give give value to people. And normally a lot of entrepreneurs, like I said earlier, have an issue with acquiring clients.
Right.
So give me an idea, man. How did you get, are getting your clients or got your first one?
Right. So the first client that I actually got, I headed over to groups on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and I joined the groups, niche
Okay.
specific to roofing.
Okay.
And I looked in there and I seen there's tons of people in there, from owners to laborers to anyone, but they're all within the roofing industry.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I started going through the list one by one. This is about 5 years ago now. Started going through the list one by one, and I'm looking for owners, right? Owners, and I'm simply just adding them, connecting, and then from there,
Mm,
I just simply sent them a message and started building rapport. Now, at this point, I didn't have any experience working with actual clients,
right.
but I'm pitching that, hey, look, I'm looking to get established in this industry,
Yeah.
and I'm willing to work for free. Straight
Okay.
up, I said, I'm willing to work for free. If you work with me, I'm going to try to do my best to do this. And obviously, at this point, I can't really charge anything because I don't have much experience. I
Yeah.
don't
You're
have
new to the
much
game, right?
exactly right. So I got to put in the work.
Yeah.
And so I messaged this one guy, which is now probably my best client to date. We're still working together 5 years,
Man, that's tight.
and
That's
we're
tight.
still working together. And he was super, super skeptical at first because I don't know much, but
Yeah,
you
who's
know
this
what?
guy?
He took a leap of faith,
Right.
and I started working with him for free, and just kind of snowballed from there. Like he started seeing results, he started seeing leads coming in. I surprised myself because I'm just
You're like,
starting
yo,
out.
I did that. I
I
helped you do that.
exactly. So I'm doing my thing, day to day, just trying to make everything better. And then, boom! Like this year, he managed to reach 7 figures in his roofing company from doing just taking a leap of faith on some guy
Yeah.
that he met on the internet, right? So
Right.
it's crazy the way it worked out. But that was my first client. From there, it was just, you know what, I'm going to use him as a case study to showcase that, hey, I can do this thing, right? I
Yeah.
can help you generate leads.
But
And
you
from
made a
there,
really good made a really good point, like in how you started. You were offering your services for free in the beginning,
right,
right? And I think a lot of people and you please chime in as well. Like I feel like some people are afraid to do the work for free because it might diminish their reputation, but you don't have a reputation in the beginning,
exactly.
right? So
You
it's like,
don't,
what are you really worried about? You're
right,
chasing the bag, which is the wrong approach.
right,
I feel like especially because both of you and I, that's how we met. To kind of give some context, right? We met at
conference,
a at a conference, right?
yeah,
And in Canada, and it was a
mhm,
marketing conference,
right,
right? So we both do the same thing. But at the same time, like me, I had to do stuff for free before I got any clients. But I
right,
feel a lot of people miss that, right? And they all of a sudden say, "Oh, my first client, I'm going to charge him X." But your client doesn't even know you. You don't
right,
have any reputation,
exactly,
to justify your cost. So
right.
working for free isn't a bad thing,
No, not at all,
you know.
not at
And I
all.
think and I think that's a mindset that people need to change. Like it's not bad, man, to work for free.
Yeah,
You're eventually building a reputation in order for you then to do your best work. Like you just finished saying, you helped your client, you generated leads for them,
yeah.
and then when you asked, right, for that money, you gave, and then you asked, right,
There you
and
go.
you got some.
And the thing is, you got to be straight up, right off the bat.
Yep.
I didn't come in saying, hey, look, I have this XYZ clients and they're making this. Like, you can't BS your way through that, right? You
No,
just
that's
be
a
straight
fact.
up and say, hey, look, I'm looking to establish myself. I'm gonna be straight up with you. Um, I'm learning. I'm trying
Hmm.
to, come up. Give me a shot,
Yep.
and I'll do the best that I can. And we can kind of go from there,
Yeah.
right?
No.
If you start to see results and you like what you see, then you know what I mean. We can talk pricing then, but until then, I want to make sure that I'm giving you the most value, as much value as possible, and
Right.
that way you can see what I'm made of. And if you like what you see, maybe you can give me a testimonial in exchange for the work that I'm doing,
Right.
and go from there. If things don't work out between us, then that's
No
it.
hard feelings.
No
Right.
hard feelings.
Right.
Exactly.
So, so speaking of providing value, you give a lot of useful tips and insights
Mhm.
through some of your social media platforms.
Yeah.
Why is that? Can you explain that a little bit?
Well, I mean, you really got to be able to stand out from the crowd. I hang out in a lot of, and this is part of market research that I do
Right.
within the roofing industry, and I hang out in a lot of Facebook groups, LinkedIn groups, and one of the common things that I see is all these lead generation guys in my DMs and just asking me if I want leads, and again, the market is so saturated that
Yep.
you kind of have to stand out. Like today, for example, on Facebook, I built a template, a landing page template, and I said I'm giving it away for free. Who wants it?
Okay.
Right? Just to
Right.
be able to provide value. Guys, if you can use this template and generate leads from it, let me know.
Yeah.
Let me
Right.
know. It's a win for you. It's a win for me. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Right. No, I agree with you 100% because I feel is this what we know, Matt. It's anybody can Google it.
Right.
Okay. It's not like we have the secret sauce.
Right.
You know what I mean? But it's about being transparent. It's
Mhm.
about being able to give that value. And I'm a strong believer of sharing, right? Because a lot of people um, lack that knowledge, and I think that lack of knowledge is what stops them from going to the next level,
Right.
leveling up, right?
Exactly.
But I would rather give you that knowledge, right, to
Yeah.
be able to grow, to succeed. But at the
Right.
same time, I'm providing you value by doing that.
Right.
And again, man, I just feel like why don't I just cut some time from you from Googling it
Right.
and I'll just show you. I'll just tell you.
Precisely.
And I could give you a little bit of more of the insight like how you do for like in your Google ads,
Yeah.
how your ads look, what's the conversion,
Right.
what should you look for in a CTR and things like that. But I asked that question because I think that's important. And I think a lot of business owners can benefit from just sharing,
Right.
just sharing some of that knowledge, sharing
Share your
some.
knowledge.
Yeah,
Just
that's all that is.
don't bottle it up. Just let it
Yeah,
out there. Let people use it and be able to capitalize on it. Right. That's the information that you're giving out there for free. Right. It's
right.
just information that you've gathered up over the years, and if it's going to help someone, then why not?
Why not? Exactly. Why not? Um, so let's jump in. So let me just ask you just a
Yeah.
random question.
Sure.
Where are most of your clients?
Um, I think it's like a 50-50 split between Canada and the US.
You heard
Uh,
that, guys? Canada and the U.S.
yeah,
I'm
they're
telling you,
they're
he was far.
they're all over the place.
Okay.
Colorado, Texas, Ohio, Connecticut, here in Ontario, all on the west coast, British Columbia, all on the east coast, Nova Scotia. So they're kind of just really there's no like one concentrated area. They're all over the place.
Okay. So then, how did you generate? So you generate leads. How do people contact you through social media, or they go to your website?
So I run ads on Facebook,
Okay.
and so again, free value video that I'm putting out there to show them how to generate their own roofing leads. And so that's the main way that I generate leads. I'm kind of dabbling into some other things
Mm-hmm.
these days, just to diversify the way that you're generating leads. Because again, you gotta stay on top of the game here, right?
Yeah. No. No joke. Right.
Yeah, so that's what I'm doing. But for the most part, it's Facebook.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was going to be the question. Like, how important is digital marketing for you and your clients? I mean, I know that's what you offer, right?
Right.
But kind of give the audience or the listeners and the viewers some sort of idea of how important it is to either experiment, or test some, digital marketing platforms. How important do you think that is?
No, that's definitely very important, right? Once you've established a proof of concept,
Right.
meaning that you know what you're doing, you're good
Right.
at what you do,
Right.
then you can kind of broadcast. If you have no idea what you're doing, like let's say I want to get my first client. right?
Yeah,
My
yeah.
very first client, and I'm dishing out money to Facebook, to YouTube, to Google to try to look for clients, and I haven't done the work myself, right? Let's say I didn't get that first client, and I'm
Right.
there looking for clients. I'm spending money on it. Well, how do I know it's not a waste of money?
That's true.
Right? How do I know it's not a waste of money? You got to
Right.
be able to establish a proof of concept and say, hey, look, I did it with this guy, right? Let me see if I can do it again. Otherwise, this could have been a fluke.
It could be, right? You
Right?
never know.
But let me try. Okay, let me try this client. Hey,
Right.
it works. Let me try with that client. Oh, it works. You know what? I got something here, right? And so
Yeah.
now I can even use these guys that I've been able to help out and use them in my ads as far as testimonials go. And that's kind of
Mm.
how it just the snowball effect, right? The ball just gets bigger and bigger as time goes on. So that's how it's very important,
I like that,
having
man.
the ads out there,
Right.
and really the key thing is getting a proof of concept before you start dishing out money here and there, because if you haven't done the work, then realistically you could be spending money to get nothing back because
Yep.
you're not an expert in what you do.
Now you make a really good point, man, and that's what I came to realization for myself. Right? Is I I'm a really good digital marketing strategist,
Mhm.
and I can implement. But what was happening is when I'm giving these strategies, I am not implementing it on my own.
Mhm.
So I didn't have that proof of concept at one point.
Yeah.
So then I was realizing I need to do it for myself.
Right.
Like, how am I going to tell somebody um, to that they need 3 or 4 pieces of content or even more a day in Facebook
Right.
when I'm not posting, but I'm posting once a week?
Right.
Well, what does that even do? So
You gotta
once I
practice what you preach, man. Exactly.
exactly, so
Yeah.
I had to transition to that. So then I have proof of concept. Like, look, this
Exactly.
is what's happened to me in regards to either the podcast or or any venture that I've done, and this is what I've done to promote it, and you see the growth. So
Exactly.
I think that's a beautiful point, man. I mean, you got a couple of minutes to nerd out with me real quick?
Yeah, man. Let's do it.
All right, man. So I want to jump into some of your Google ads. I know you're really big with that. I've seen you in
Sure.
LinkedIn. I've seen you posting a lot of screenshots of some of your clients' successes.
Mhm.
Um, so nerd out with me for a little bit, man. What kind of match types for keywords? So for those that don't know,
Mhm.
there are different sort of match types to keywords,
Right.
right? You have very broad, um, exact match, phrase match, and broad match modifiers.
Mhm.
Again, if you guys been watching me, you guys know that this isn't a tutorial, so you're not going to see little slide out with definitions, right?
Right.
Just go ahead and Google, but listen to my man's real quick. Which match types do you normally start off with when you're starting off a campaign?
So when it comes to the roofing industry, to start out, it's really good to start out with just a generic term such as roofing
Sure.
plus your geo modifier. So
Mm,
really, you're targeting local traffic. I start off with a broad match modified. Broad is just way too broad. Google just kind of throws anything at
anything,
you.
right?
So you really don't want to go there.
Look at
But
your
broad
search
match
terms,
modifier,
and you're like, what?
right? Cow manure. What?
Right, what is that? I said roofing, and you got cow manure here. Like, okay,
Exactly. And so, starting off with broad match modified with a geo modifier in it,
okay,
that's typically where I want to start out with, as well as the exact match keywords. Once you start to kind of pick up and see,
right,
your search queries,
right,
what's come up, you'll see the ones that typically come up the most. The ones that typically come up the most in the roofing industry is geo modifier plus roofing company, geo modifier plus roofing contractor, and geo modifier and just roofing. And then you can get into like super specific different types of roofing, whether it be residential or
sure,
commercial,
sure.
things like that. So yeah,
So geo modifiers, for those again that might not know, are going to be like roofing company in Toronto.
there you go.
Right, it's those locations that you can add at the end of the keywords. And again, there's certain things that you need to do within the setting location, because what I've realized, like for example here, what I do is if clients want to add that geolocation into their keyword per se, I would go into the settings and I would do all of the United States, and then add that modifier,
Mhm.
right? But if I'm targeting, let's just say, because I'm in Richmond, Virginia, I don't need to add that modifier at the end, right? Because I've seen in some of my campaigns that I work for some of my clients is it Google's just smart enough to understand that I'm trying to target just Richmond,
Yeah.
so I don't necessarily need it. How do you feel about that? Do you still add um those geolocations within that keyword if you're targeting, let's just say, Toronto?
So adding it is definitely, that's you just being super specific and telling Google exactly what you're looking for.
Sure.
That's what I typically start out with.
Okay.
Now, once you get established, right, you can kind of throw in some more broader keywords such as
Sure.
that. One gem that I've really started to see pick up in the past year or so
Hmm.
are the near me Keywords.
Yo, I was just about to say yes.
Those ones are a gold mine, right? Like
They
the near
are.
me's, everybody's just you could just pick up your phone and find roofing contractors near me, and it'll just give you a list. And you wanna go after those, right?
You
Because
do.
it adds the locality factor. It does pretty much the same thing that the geo modifier does. It just adds a locality factor
Yep.
to the keyword, so it
That
helps
near
a lot.
me, that near me has done some wonders to some campaigns of
Oh
mine
yeah, oh yeah,
just by adding in and bidding on it. So it does work.
oh for sure.
What bid strategies do you start out with in the beginning? Are you manually bidding? Are you picking some sort of smart bidding strategy within Google Ads?
So I normally start off with a manual CPC.
Okay.
I pick the amount that I want to spend per keyword.
Sure.
Realistically, in the roofing industry, like you're spending very little for a huge upside, right? A roof is not cheap,
Mm,
depending on where you are.
sure.
And so you really have a lot of wiggle room to start off with, anyways.
Right.
And so some of them can get stupid expensive. Like
Mm.
some of the keywords in the roofing industry can get really. If you're down in like Texas
Yeah. Yeah.
or Colorado,
They're
man, some of
expensive
those
down there.
keywords can go $65 a click, right? That's
Dang, they're
insane.
like
Versus,
lawyers. They're like lawyer keyword
yeah,
terms.
yeah, right. And
Damn.
because it's a huge upside, right?
Yeah.
But for the guys that are in like the suburbs, those guys are winning because those guys can get like clicks for like $5-6 and still get that huge upside as well.
So
So
yeah,
those
like you
guys are
say, they're
winning.
winning.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure.
Um, are you utilizing any display campaigns and or retargeting campaigns?
So I use the display campaigns to start mainly for remarketing purposes.
Okay.
So I have remarketing banners going across the internet. Let's say a
Sure.
visitor, hops on your site.
Right.
They leave. We want to make sure we chase them around. As bad as it sounds, we want to make sure that
Yeah.
we
Yeah. Yeah.
we chase them around on the internet, right? Make sure that we stay at top of their minds. And if they ever need roofing services in the near future, then we're right there.
So do most clients? So here's one question too that
Mhm.
I wanted to ask. Are you seeing most clients transitioning to display campaigns, video campaigns more since what Google is saying that and Facebook and all the other platforms that video is really um, that that tactic in order to wake up the algorithm in order to either a push them up or further on the page.
Right.
What's your take on that?
I wish contractors would make more videos. Right now, for the roofing industry at least, it's such an untapped market. Just you getting in front of a camera and
Yeah,
shooting a video and
right.
using that to promote your business, so underutilized, right? Underrated. Right? That's the word I'm
Mm,
looking for. So underrated. I wish more of my clients, but a lot of them are not comfortable on camera. But
I
they got to
know,
get
right?
over it.
That's
They
what
really got to get
I'm
over it.
saying.
They
You know,
really got to get over
they
it. Like
got to get over it.
we're moving on 2020, new decade just now,
Right.
right? They got to be able to get on camera, talk about their business, say X, Y, and Z, and how
Yep.
you can help, people
Yep.
around, especially in states that have like hurricane damage, hail damage.
Yeah.
Like, those are some areas in which there's a lot of untrustworthy roofing contractors, right? There's a lot of guys that come out of state to try to get some work. They're not licensed, they're
Look at
not
that.
insured, and
Yeah.
so they come in and they go door to door knocking, and some homeowners unfortunately get scammed out of some money. And
Dang.
so but the consumer's getting a lot smarter when it comes to this, right? And so a lot of them are going online and they're doing their due diligence. But now people want to see a face,
Yeah.
right? When
Yeah.
they want to do business with someone, they want to see a face. And so I really encourage roofing contractors to start making videos so people can get to know you. I want to
That's what I'm
know
saying.
who's behind the brand that I'm looking to do business with.
Right.
Right. So make a video, just a short introductory video, just 30 seconds to a minute.
Yeah, they act like they act like they have to write a script and they have to
Oh,
become actors. It's like, no, just but to that extent, man, I agree. I push and I kind of like beg, like,
right.
let's make a video. Although Google and Facebook gives you the opportunity to create videos, and the quotes are because they're images that become
Right.
slides,
Slides.
right?
Yeah.
So, and they do well,
Mhm.
but it's not personable, right? And
Yeah,
you
exactly.
don't see the brand, you just see pictures that are sliding and fading, and,
Yeah.
and which is cool, but I would really love people to actually step in front, control their brand,
Yeah.
and make videos, because in this generation, look what we're doing. I'm
Right.
recording this
Yeah.
because this is a video,
There you
right?
go.
And then it's going to be an audio,
Yeah.
but still, that's where we're at. And I really hope, people in your industry and everywhere, people who are listening, really take key that video is it is the future. That's what people want to see. That's why Instagram does those Instagram stories.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's why when you go on Facebook, you see videos on the top of your feed, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, so speaking of like Facebook and Instagram and social media,
Yeah.
so are you doing ads as well for your clients on any social media platforms?
No, I am not. Mainly the sorry about that.
No, you're good.
Mainly the platform that I advertise on is Google Ads,
Okay,
and Google itself,
sure.
for the sole reason that you don't need a roof until you need a roof.
That's intent, right? You're looking for, because it's intentional. You
Exactly,
need
it
it,
is.
right? Right.
Right. So it's not like you're scrolling through your social media feed and hey, maybe I need a roof. Like, no, you know what I mean? People don't
Right.
do that, right? And so that's why I go to Google, because that's where people go, right? That the
Yeah.
intent is there. I'm now searching for a roofing contractor.
Sure.
I might start off, at the top of the buyer's funnel and look around and say, you know what, maybe I want to do a little roof repair myself. I might look at some, do-it-yourself blogs or
Hmm.
something like that, and then find out that maybe it's
Nah,
a
I
little
ain't
bit too
going up there.
much,
That's right.
right?
It's a little
So
stupid
now
sleep.
now let me look for some roofing contractors. And
Right.
now guess what? They went on your blog. You have a remarketing pixel on there, and now you
Hmm.
can start following them around without having to do anything, because you just
Yeah.
provided some value up front through the
Right.
blog, right? And now you can
Right.
remarket to them over time. No social media, mainly just Google Ads, and making sure that we're there when somebody's looking for the roofing services.
Sure. Sure. All right. Let's nerd out just a little bit more before we
Sure.
go ahead and wrap up. Are you doing any sort of device bid adjustments? When you're optimized. Actually, you know what? Scratch that question. Help me understand how you optimize your Google Ads campaign, and you don't have to go granular, but
Yeah.
kind of give me an idea what you're looking at when you see stuff to tweak for your clients.
So right off the bat, one of the things that I would typically do is I've gathered enough, I guess, historical data from all of my previous clients. So if I bring on a new client, immediately off the bat, what I would eliminate is 18 to 34-year-olds, because I've seen historically, and it kind of makes sense, right, that these
Yeah,
guys are
yeah.
not the homeowners.
Nah.
They're not the homeowners.
And they're not going
So
to be the decision maker if they were to pay for that house. It's probably still going to
precisely.
be mom or dad or somebody else helping them pay for that. Yeah,
Exactly. So
for
I
sure.
tend to eliminate them. I've seen a lot
Okay.
of wasted ad spend over time, and so immediately I eliminate that. So
Okay.
we don't waste anything there. Uh, Optimization on a weekly basis. I'm adding obviously the negative keywords
Sure.
from the search query. Keywords come in. Google gives you this information, and so you got to utilize that so that you don't waste any money there. Already,
Right.
I have I think about 1,000 negative keywords, like a whole spreadsheet list, right, of words that I already throw into the campaign, because I already know that these are all things that we don't want to be spending money on, and so I can take that and apply it to multiple campaigns. So I'm already winning there. As far as other optimizations that I see, time of day.
Okay.
Time of day is big. I've originally tried to let the campaigns kind of run throughout the whole day to kind of see. But I've seen over time that, you know what, from the hours of 9 p.m. to about 6 a.m., nothing really happens there. And most people are asleep, sure, but you never know until you test it, right? That's key,
true. Right.
So you never know. You could be getting like leads at 2 a.m. for some reason. I don't know why, but you probably want to keep that.
Right.
I've seen historically that that's not the best time of day to generate leads, and some of it does go to waste. And so I cut that off immediately.
Sure.
So that's pretty much some optimization tips.
Thank you,
right
man.
off the bat, so that you can kind of just eliminate any wasted ad spend from there.
Thanks, man, for sharing that. All right, man. So before we wrap up, what advice would you give someone maybe trying to jump in your same industry or do something like that, meaning help an industry and combine the digital marketing with it? Like, what advice would you give someone?
So realistically, you got to figure out what you're good at.
Okay.
I'll give you the same advice that I was given, really.
All right.
What have you been doing for the last 5 years? What industry have you been working in? Right? What do you know? Right. It's a matter of applying that knowledge with the digital marketing if you want to, right? It doesn't have to be digital marketing. It could be something else. It could be something else, and you can kind of just mesh the two so that you are, because you're already somewhat of an expert in something. If you've spent a lot of time in a certain industry, then you should know it fairly well. And so why not use that knowledge to kind of give you a head start on what you're looking to accomplish or get done.
So really don't reinvent the wheel.
No, right?
Just know do what you're good at.
Exactly. Do what you're good at. If you know something, take that knowledge and apply it with, combine it with something else.
Yeah.
And utilize it. And that's kind of how you stand out from the rest of the crowd. Because if you try to do what I did right off the bat and say, I'm going to start designing websites, you got another thing coming.
Right.
That ship has sailed, right? Like
that's a fact.
It's gone.
It's out there.
Designing websites you can just look for anyone and they can just create a website for you. So it's not a thing, right? You gotta really have to stand out in such a saturated market.
I think that's important. I think that self-awareness of knowing that, hey, I am good at cooking, for example.
There you go.
But I am a secretary at a law firm. Mm-hmm. Okay. You don't necessarily have to talk anything about you being a secretary.
Right.
Do cooking. You're good at it. Right. Don't be afraid. Yeah. You see, and that's the thing and that's why I asked you in the very beginning, what was the first thing that kicked your ass becoming an entrepreneur? Because a lot of people get their ass kicked and they don't want to do nothing after they got it, right? Because for a few reasons, but some of the reasons talking to people is because they stepped into a vertical that they have no idea what's it about.
Exactly.
Right? Website design. Let's just say for me, if I decide to go with website design, Matt's not going to happen. Okay? I can make a landing page. You know that, right? I mean, but a website? Nah. I'm not going to do it. And then what's going to happen is I'm going to get frustrated.
Yep.
And then I'm going to be like, this didn't work. Right? But I know digital marketing, so let me stick with that. And I think that's important. So, self-awareness and having self-awareness of what you're good at, it's okay if it doesn't match your career.
Right.
You know what I mean? It doesn't have to technically. You just so happen to go to college and landed in a job that you stayed in 5 years and you were good at it.
Right.
And you enjoyed it, and you're making a career out of it. And I salute you for that, Matt. But look, man, I know we're running out of time. Before we dip out, tell people how they can get in touch with you. Tell them where they can holler at you, man.
Sure. I'm mainly on real estate. You can visit my website, matsmoy.com. That's matsmoy.com. You can get lots of information there about what it is that I do with roofing contractors. Hit me up on Facebook. Just Google my name or type in my name, Mats
Google his
Moy.
name. You heard him.
Right? And that's pretty much it. LinkedIn, Mats Moy again, same thing. And again, what I do is I help roofing contractors generate leads online.
Now, he's the best, guys. He's the
Yeah.
best. I mean, I haven't seen anybody really care and be passionate about their clients like Matt's. Just check him out. Check his LinkedIn if you have any doubts. He does have a lot of stuff on LinkedIn and throughout his platforms that will show you guys how he's helping roofing companies. So, and you already heard the man. He might be in Canada, but he's helping people all over. So
Yeah,
don't hesitate to go ahead and reach out. But Matt, I appreciate you. I'm
thank
honored
you.
to have you and taking the time to talk to me and my viewers. Well, everybody, thank you for joining in to another episode of Close the Gap. Matt, peace.